What's up, Vedders? Patrick here with Vetted. Today we're talking about this.
Okay, the first question, Dan, they want to know is, where did you work in the mid-90s, and how did you come to be employed there?
Well, several locations in the mid-90s. I had some cover positions here in Las Vegas, which made me look like a good old-fashioned Joe. In fact, I had some police experience at the late 80s. You're probably centering your question around the work for the government.
Do you want to say anything further about the stargates? Or their use in 2012?
Well,
what in terms of actually when you first confronted with the idea that it was, a non-human being, an extraterrestrial, something not of this world?
It looked like a giant insect, being dark brown and hunched in a corner, very insectoid in appearance. It almost looked like it had an exoskeleton. It was fear, excitement, complete astonishment, because honestly, I thought we were dealing with some sort of monkey, something like an old world ape or the like, but indeed it wasn't. I felt afraid inside because I was always told that monsters weren't real. And now I find out they are, but they live in the heart of men.
Vedders, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, y'all. All right, so what's today's video about? Well, it's about Dan Burish. You may or may not have heard of this guy. So here's what's gonna happen in today's video. I've got a special video to show you, okay, that has not been shown to the public yet. These guys that made it sent it to me. It was an unlisted YouTube video. It's basically a film that they've entered into the Nikon Film Festival, and it's been accepted. And I said, wow, this thing is great because it's about Dan Burish. And I was like, man, I would love to play this video. So they allowed me to play it. And then we'll talk about the people that made it, and I want to give them some credit and how this was, all made and put together. All right, now before we go any further, I need to introduce the sponsor for today's video, Green Chef. Annoyed with all those misleading healthy meals that are anything but? Tired of locking in for another New Year's trend? Green Chef cuts through the noise as the trusted authority in clean eating, delivering only real farm-sourced ingredients you can actually feel good about. Trust every single bite. With over 40 clean, customizable weekly recipes, Green Chef gives you real peace of mind. Every box comes packed with certified organic produce and responsibly sourced proteins and seafood. No ultra-processed fillers, ever. You get science-backed nutrition tailored to your goals. Mediterranean, high protein, high fiber, plant-based, and more. All clinically proven to support healthier habits. And the convenience? They do the research, the meal planning, and the grocery shopping for you. Just low prep, low mess meals that fit any lifestyle. Plus, Green Chef is the most sustainable meal kit out there, cutting food waste by up to 45% versus regular grocery shopping and offsetting 100% of delivery emissions. I use Green Chef, and you should too. Head to greenchef.com/50vetted and use code 50vetted to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 more months with free shipping. That's code 50vetted at greenchef.com/50vetted. Before I show you guys the video, just want to familiarize everybody with who Dan Burish is exactly, in case you're familiar or unfamiliar, or maybe you've heard the name, you kind of know him, but don't know his story entirely. Here's just a quick refresher of who Dan Burish is and what he's most known for in the UFO community.
What in terms of actually when you first confronted with the idea that it was, a non-human being, an extraterrestrial, something not of this world?
Because even when we were first introduced to the J-Rod, they were him-hawing around as to its origin, his origin. poppycock. I didn't believe it initially. However, deep inside, I held open the possibility because of what happened to me earlier in my life.
Dan Burish, born Danny Crane in 1964, is a microbiologist with a PhD from SUNY Stony Brook. He claims he was recruited in 1986 into the ultra-secret Majestic 12 group, the alleged shadow committee overseeing extraterrestrial contact since 1947.
Okay, the first question, Dan, they want to know is, where did you work in the mid-90s, and how did you come to be employed there?
Well, several locations in the mid-90s. I had some cover positions here in Las Vegas, which made me look like a good old-fashioned Joe. In fact, I had had some police experience at the late 80s. You're probably centering your question around the work for the government.
Assigned to the underground S4 facility at Papoose Lake near Area 51, Burisch says he worked as a senior scientist on Project Aquarius.
Finally, starting up 1991 timeframe, I was cleared for working past groom to the Papoose mountain facility, that place that doesn't exist, about 90 miles north of here, the nowhere place.
His main task? Studying a living extraterrestrial being known as J-Rod, a gray-like entity from the Zeta Reticuli system.
Okay, so it's back to that question. Let me just rephrase it for you. Can you describe in detail the first time, what it was like to meet this being for the first time?
My original feeling was I was looking at a giant insect.
Described as a future human descendant suffering from severe neuropathy.
Being dark brown and hunched in a corner, very insectoid in appearance. It almost looked like it had an exoskeleton. I felt afraid inside because I was always told that monsters weren't real. And now I find out they are, but they live in the heart of men. It was fear, excitement, complete astonishment, because honestly, I thought we were dealing with some sort of monkey, something like an old world ape or the like, but indeed it wasn't. That's what my feeling was.
Burisch claims he entered a special clean sphere containment facility, took tissue samples, communicated telepathically with J-Rod, and even helped send one back through Stargate technology. Wow, that doesn't sound made up at all.
We know that Kaela escaped through a Stargate with your assistance. That was described in one of our last videos.
Yeah.
And
E.T. went home.
Yes, E.T. went home.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about that is that you also had an experience in which you sort of fell into the Stargate and then kind of didn't go all the way, so you stayed in this reality.
Kind of.
Kind of.
I was expelled several yards away onto a slab of, it was either limestone or granite, I'm not really sure, sandstone. All I know is that it was hard when I landed on it.
He also speaks of time travel paradoxes, the looking glass device that could view future timelines. He retired from Black Ops service around 2006 to 2007, and in no way does any of this still sound made up.
And of course, you're going to have to restate this again. Why are you talking to us now? What is your intention in telling us about this, about your involvement?
It's multifocal. It's multifocal. There's several reasons. The largest reason is not the most important reason. The largest reason from a personal perspective is to step out from under the Black Ops community and retire. I'm ready.
Burisch has since shared his story through various interviews with Project Camelot, Bill Hamilton, and others, positioning himself as a reluctant whistleblower urging humanity to save itself.
we're writing new protocols as we're going because this is not new territory. This is, pardon the pun, alien territory.
How many beings have we had to work with?
I only met one. I am aware of possibly 3 from the reading. And at that time, again, I was so stunned by what I was doing. A lot of it was getting by me. When I read the word extraterrestrial, I tunnel visioned. And when I finally believed and understood that it was, in fact, an extraterrestrial, none.
Controversial, detailed, and still debated to this day. That's the saga of Dr. Dan Burish.
Good man.
All right, I think it's time we take a look at this video again that's never been seen before publicly about Dan Burish. I think you're gonna really like it. I was blown away by the quality of this. So take a look.
Good night, Dan.
I was told monsters weren't real. Then I found out they are, but they live in the hearts of men. My name is Dan, no wife, no kids. I should not be talking to you, I really shouldn't. 4th stage, I'm dying, glioblastoma.
I'm sorry.
What are they gonna do? Kill me twice? I hope you've got security, they'll come for you next. They always do. The first time I went down now, I was 29. They made me sign things, threatened everything they care about. Not that there is much.
First day,
Yeah,
do not get lost.
buried beneath the test range, the lab, the checkpoints. I'm a microbiologist. So many years underground, shutting my mouth. I used to love it. S4. Sorry, I'm jumping around. My head's a mess since the seizures.
Case 15, clean sphere ready.
That day I thought I was hallucinating. The fear, the smell. I met him, you know. The J-Rod, they call him. He showed me everything. I'm out.
I know. Majestic thanks you.
Go fuck yourself.
I'll miss you.
Beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all.
All right, so let's take a look at the credits here. Written and directed by Charles Edouard Dangleser and Gregoire Valiant. Music by Abraham Fogg. Voices by Brianna Naklani. The film is a work of fiction, freely inspired by the story of a mythical whistleblower. We thank our family and friends from Wizard Pictures. All right, so there you go. There you have it. So this was apparently made with AI, okay, but it is so well done, and you can tell the hard work that they put into this, inspired by the story. So it's not entirely true, but some parts are taken from his story. And I think a lot of us, some of us may think that Dan Burish isn't really telling the truth at all to begin with. So I would say it's, all creatively inspired all the way around. But this film is quite excellent. These people did a great job putting this together, and I'm really happy for them that they got accepted into this, this film contest, this film festival, and, I hope they win. All right. I think this is unbelievable, and I think it shows the power of AI. I show like crappy AI videos at the beginning of my videos, but, little clips, right? And they suck. right, compared to what these guys are doing. Took them a lot of time. They put in a lot of work and effort into this, and when I first saw it, I just thought, wow, this is amazing, because I get sent stuff all the time. This was just like, I was blown away by it. All right, so make sure to give him some love down there in the comments and let me know what you think about Dan Burish and his story. All right, betters, we'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.